It's a pleasure to be up here and talk about something exciting that we're working on, which is really talking about taking Sumo on the road. Quick raise of hands. How many people have ever tried to use Sumo Logic on a mobile device? A couple people. Good experience, right? Works like a charm? No. So, obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing here. I'll talk a little bit about some of the feedback we've gotten over the last couple years. But let me just first introduce myself. So, make sure the clicker's working. So I'm Michael Marfis. I'm the VP of Product Management. I've been at Sumo Logic for about 3 years, 2.5, 2 3/4 years. And just a little bit about myself, in addition to loving technology, I also am a trained professional chef. It has nothing to do with this business, just thought I'd tell you. But there actually is a lot of tie-ins to what you do in a kitchen, in leading and managing a team, and what you do in the business life. But just a little bit, if you ever want to talk shop or you want to talk cooking, come see me after this, and I've got a lot to share. But more importantly, what are we going to cover today? So, we're clearly a mobile society. I mean, that's been around for over 10 years now. And we need to do our jobs as IT folks, as product managers, as business owners, wherever, whenever. And that's not always easy if you don't, in certain situations, if you don't have access to the tools you need on mobile devices. I mean, obviously, a lot of us carry laptops around. Those work generally speaking, but that's not going to be the case. So we really need the tools to enable us to do our job anywhere. So what we're going to talk about today is what our vision is for the types of things we believe our customers want to do on a mobile device. We're going to give a live demo, cross your fingers it all works. And we're going to really use this to get feedback. We're early in this journey, just to be very honest with you. We're looking for your feedback in terms of the types of use cases and things that you want to solve with a mobile device. So definitely we have 3 or 4 of the team members here, raise your hands, who are actually working on this from engineering and product management perspective. So if it's not me, talk to them and definitely share your feedback. So you heard Bruno and Christian talk a lot earlier around critical businesses, and we ourselves are a critical business, and we know that all of you have websites or applications that inevitably, in the most important time of the year, something's going to go wrong. We wish they didn't. We try to do our best to predict these things, but whether you're a retail shop on the busiest day of the year and something goes down, inevitably you're probably going to get a phone call or a PagerDuty alert or something that you have to handle. And that's great. We've got the tools to set up those alerts, but it's going to cost you, in this case, lots of dollars per second you don't fix that issue. So the sooner you can get that alert, handle that issue, whatever it may be, and address it, the better it's going to be for your end business and your end customer. And we realize that that's not always in the most convenient time. You may be at dinner with your friends. Or what most cases happens is you're sleeping in the middle of the night. And unless you sleep with your laptop under your pillow, I don't know, some of you may do that, this isn't an easy thing to just jump on when your phone starts going off and you're getting the alert. And if you've ever tried to use Sumo in that situation, it looks something like this, which isn't the best experience, trying to navigate through a bunch of tabs and trying to figure out, how to get to a dashboard and look at that alert and figure out if it's just something you can ignore and go back to sleep, or maybe you need to go up and do something a little bit better. So we recognize that this isn't the most ideal experience that you can have on a mobile device. And I think our customers agree with that as well. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from customers. So, there's a pretty active idea out on an idea portal that's getting voted. There's some good feedback on what people want to do with alerting on a mobile device. Our product manager on this has been working to try to synthesize that feedback and really understand, what would make a good experience on a mobile device. And when you really kind of boil it down to a couple things, it's this. I need to make sure that it's where I am. It needs to be convenient for where I am and how I'm doing my job. I mean, in many cases, this sort of device or a big screen is perfectly fine and you can get in and do your job. But there are always going to be situations where you don't have access to a rich user interface to be able to deal with these sorts of issues. And by the way, how many people are using PagerDuty or some other alerting system? So you're already starting this process on a phone in many cases. You're getting that alert. You're looking in PagerDuty. You want to be able to seamlessly go from that interface to something else that helps you. And in the end, it's all about efficient incident response. We're all on the hook, to respond to our customers quickly, to save that money that you're losing every minute, every second that a system's down and your customers are trying to use that system. So we really need to keep looking at what's the overall effectiveness in any sort of situation. There's wartime situations where you've got to address something, and there's even peacetime situations where you just want to interact with someone else on the team and look at some alerts or dashboards. So we see this very valuable in both of those, but clearly in those wartime situations where something's down, it's really when you need to jump on this and address it. So here comes the fun part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch you over. It's going to take me about 1 second. I'm going to actually use my Android here, and I'm going to show a live demo if all goes well. And I'm going to walk you through what we've actually built so far. So this is live working. It's in the Google Play Store now. It's only in a developer mode right now, so we've just got a few people looking at it. But I want to give you a sense of where we're going, and then I'll come back and show a little bit about what the future of this looks like. I think this is that resolution error. It's not. Oh, there it goes. There we go. All right. I was getting a little nervous there for a second. Okay. So let's quick. Can you guys see that okay? It's a little fuzzy. But this is my PagerDuty app, so I'm just sitting in PagerDuty. I sent myself an alert from the Sumo Logic system, just a sample thing. But you'll see here I've got a link in here that says View in Sumo Logic. So this is a dashboard that I linked to this alert. I'm going to click on that. It's going to try to open up the browser. I'm going to tell it to open up the Sumo app. So now it's actually loading the Sumo native mobile app. I'm going to go ahead and just log in. And now I'm looking at, this is my personal folder from the content sharing library. So this is only right now, we're supporting this with the new boards, the new dashboards that you've seen. So you're only going to see the live dashboards. You'll see I've got a number of dashboards here listed. This would be basically your full library in the future. You'd be able to look at your dashboards that were shared with you, etc. So let's just go ahead and click on one of these dashboards. Right now in the current version, we're only supporting line charts. So I'm going to show you all line charts. Yeah, it's really hard to see, huh? I don't know if we can dim the lights. Can we dim the lights at all here, or no? No? Okay. Sorry about that. It's a little hard to see with all the lights. One of the things you can do, right, you got the time range editor, so you can go ahead and pick the time range editor for what you want to see. I can click on an individual graph. I can select what line charts I want to see. I can actually scroll over them and just scan across, and I can see the actual values in the legend. I guess you can kind of see that. If I go back, I can also, you'll see the new dashboard variables. So down on the bottom, you'll see I'll bring up one of the drop downs. Let me get my finger on that. And you can see I've got all the different, here's all the clusters. So I'm going to change my cluster view. I'm going to change how many lines I want to see per chart. So I can actually interact with the chart, make modifications, obviously look at individual data points. And eventually that'll be for all kinds of charts, and we'll talk about what's coming in the future. But right now what we've done in V1 is we've built it for Android. We've built in the line charts. Obviously we've got some of the first wave of interactions for interacting with the line charts, looking at the actual data values. And I'm going to talk in a little bit about some of the other things that you're going to be able to do in upcoming releases. So that's kind of where we are today on the live demo. Did I miss anything you want me to show? I think that's pretty good. Okay. Let's go back to this. I'll skip all these. That was my backup plan. So let's talk a little bit about what's coming next. iPhone support. So we did it on Android first. Right now, actually, I think in the next couple of weeks, we're working on an iOS version of the application. Obviously, we want to support both major OSs with an application. A little bit more process to go through the App Store process than it is the Android Store, so we decided to make this one next. Visualizations, honeycombs. How many people have heard about honeycombs this week? I think we probably showed them 100 times. But, providing all the additional visualizations, the distribution charts, honeycomb charts. So really, most of the charting libraries are similar versions of the current charting libraries that we're using in our new dashboards, and being able to obviously see those when you're projecting your dashboards on a mobile device. Alerting. So one of the things we're looking at is, bringing some of the actual alerts into the application as well. So not only are you just getting the dashboards, but you're starting to see some of the things that triggered those alerts. So you may still be using PagerDuty to drive right into a dashboard, or you may actually be able to look right on your device and see some of the metrics alerts or some of the log alerts that are actually coming right into the device itself. Obviously, being able to do things like mute those alerts and take actions on those alerts, similar to what you can do in the rich UI application. Continuing to evolve some of the legends and visualizations, and you'll also see down there not only legends, but you'll start to see things like the actual data itself, drilling down into the data and actually looking at the raw log messages. So, and here's a screenshot of that. Who knows what it'll look like? This is a little raw right now, but actually being able to drill into some of the actual data that's underlying those queries that are powering the dashboard panels that you're building. And extending time range editor. Right now we have kind of the default of the certain fixed periods of time, but actually being able to put your own full calendar in there to do broad range time ranges for the dashboards itself. So what do we cover? Again, we realize that this is a journey and that we want to make sure you have the different tools, and we support the tools and the devices that you're using when you're on the road, you're traveling. There's a lot we can do with mobile. We're very early on in thinking about the ideas. We're looking for our customers to heavily influence what are the best use cases that we can deliver you in this sort of experience. Obviously, there's a lot of things in the user interface that aren't going to work very well on a small device like a telephone. They may work better on a tablet. And so we're looking also at things like responsive design for the interface in general for those types of use cases. But as we look at building native applications, we really want to take advantage of things that these native devices can do. And we also want to make sure we're not overbuilding for those devices for types of use cases that you're not actually going to be doing on those. So definitely talk to me, talk to the other product managers in the room, share some of those ideas with us, share it on our portal. We definitely want to hear from you. We want to hear how often, for example, you find yourself in a situation where this would be valuable. I think that's also going to help us prioritize what things we work on first. Thank you. Questions? Has to be some question on this. Any questions? No? Who wants it? All right, all right.
That's
Who
great.
thinks it's interesting but they would never use it? Nobody? How many people would use this more than once a day? More than 3 times a day? Okay, all right. What are other people doing when they don't have this? How many people are trying to make it work? Or how many people have just given up and said it doesn't work? Every day, every day. Yeah. Any other comments or questions? Who's Android here? Who would do this on Android? iOS? iOS? All right, it's about 50-50. Not too bad, not too bad. Okay. All right, well, come up here, ask us questions, give us some feedback. We'd love to get your ideas on this. Again, we're early stage on this. We'd like to get something, out in some early preview, end of this year, early next year, but we really want to rely on you guys giving us feedback and telling us what we can do with the application. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael, for summarizing the mobile journey so far. As Michael said, we are very early in this stage, so please feel free to reach out to me or there's Google from the engineering team. So we'll be here talking to customers, understanding their use cases. We really want to make a solution which really resonates with the mobile use case. Thank you.
Thanks.